Welcome, my friends, to a new episode of Framework. Now, first, I'm sorry that I'm wearing my shades here in this episode. It's because I've got a problem with my right eye, and I don't want you to see this. Okay, so now in this episode, I'll be talking about a framework for creating CCQs on grammar. So in the previous episode, I talked about CCQs for vocabulary. Now in this one, I'll be talking about CCQs for grammar. So let's go. So in this framework, what we need to start with first is to bear the context in our mind. Number two, after checking the context, I need also to make sure of the function. Because remember that, many grammar rules have many functions. Let me give you an example. Think about present simple. You can use it to express habits. That's one function. You can also use it to talk about future timetables. That's another function. You can use it to talk about facts. That's a third function. You can also use it to talk about the past in the graphic usage of the present simple, like when telling a story, which is an advanced usage. That's another function. So every grammar rule has so many functions. So which function is focused on in the course book? So then again, so step number one, bear the context in your mind. Step number two, make sure of the function you will focus on. And step number three, check the structure in your course book. And why do I say in the course book? Why I don't say in a reference or something? It's because maybe when you go to a big reference, like Practical English Usage by Michael Swan, which is a wonderful, wonderful book. Okay. But when you go to Michael Swan, you will see like all the functions, all the usages, because it's a wonderful book. It gives you like everything. But remember that you will not teach everything about this structure in your lesson. You need to choose the function focused on in your course book. And that's why I say, go to the course book and check it. If you want to go to other references so that you understand more, no problem, but you wouldn't be teaching everything. You just focus on the function in the course book, right? Maybe it's one function, maybe two, maybe three, it depends. So after that, when you go to the structure, do not create your questions on vocabulary, like do not create a question checking the meaning of words or adjectives or whatever, right? No, create questions that will target the structure. Now, when you go to the course book, make sure that you divide the meaning of the structure into parts. Then the final step would be create questions covering these different parts. So let's see how we do this, and I'm going to focus on three different structures for three different levels. So let's start with the intermediate level, and here we are. So I've got a snapshot taken from a course book here, and it says when there is more than one action in the past, we often use the past perfect for the action that happened first. So obviously we're focusing on past perfect. Good, right? And then there is an example here given, by the time she got up the next day, the weather had changed. So now what I need to do is to divide the meaning of the structure into parts. So here it says, when there is more than one action in the past, we often use the past perfect for the action that happened first, which means that I've got two actions. The one that happened first is usually in the past perfect. Right, wonderful, good. So, for example, we have here, by the time she got up the next day, the weather had changed. Now I need to create questions on these. So, by the time, so first question would be, which action happened first? So students would say, or the answer should be that the weather had changed. And then which action happened second? Then you'd say she got up the next day. So again, the question would not be about the meaning of the verb, of the phrasal verb get up, or the verb change, because we're creating CCQs on grammar. So we need to focus on showing students which action is the first action and which action is the second action. That's it. That's the idea. Why? Because that's the usage here. Right, wonderful. So let me just try to put it in a context and teach it quickly. Right, yesterday it was raining heavily. It was just, it was a very, very tough weather. And my mom went early to bed. But the second day, the weather became great, actually, and it became a sunny day. So by the time my mother got up, the weather, and then I elicit, the weather had changed. So when I say, by the time my mother got up, the weather had changed, which action happened first? Yes, the weather had changed. And which action happened second? Yes, my mom got up. Right. Or you can make the question this way. So did my mom wake up first, or did the weather change first? The weather changed first. And then my mother got up. Right. Good. Lovely. Now, let's move to another structure. And this time, let's go, my friends, to the pre-intermediate level. And let's have a look here. And lovely. Oh, first conditional. So, and it says here, we use the first conditional to talk about the result of a possible event or situation in the future. We use the first conditional to talk about the result of a possible event or situation in the future. So we have important elements here. So we're talking here about a result. We're talking about a possible event, possible, and we're talking about the future. Good. And then it says here in point number 2, the if clause talks about things that are possible but not certain. So we have another element of meaning, or it's not certain. We've got also possible. Lovely. Then look at this. We've got an example, and it says here, if we don't get there by 5, we'll miss the plane. If I am late again, I'll lose my job. Last week, I didn't go to work on time. I always went late to work. And my manager was really, really angry with me. It's because I kept coming late. So if I'm late again, what do you think will happen, eh? Yeah, I will lose my job. Yes, if I'm late again, I will lose my job. So, my friends, is it possible that I might be late again? Yes, it is possible. Am I sure I will be late again? No. I'm not sure. I'm not sure or anything. Am I talking here about past, present, or future? Oh, future. Yes. Right. So again, if you think about my questions, you will see that I covered the part of meaning which is related to possible. I also covered the part of meaning which is related to not certain, and the part of meaning which is related to the reference, right, which is the future. Now let's go to another structure and think about it, and let's go to elementary. Oh, and I've got here present continuous, right? And it says we use the present continuous to talk about things happening now. Okay, good. And it says, I'm waiting for a taxi, right? So, good. Now we need to create questions related to things happening now. That's the meaning of the structure that we need to focus on. So say, so my friends, what do you think the lady's doing, eh? What do you think she's doing? And I will keep eliciting from my students till someone says to me, taxi, waiting for taxi. I say, yes, She's waiting for a taxi. She's waiting for a taxi. So when I say she's waiting for a taxi, am I talking about a habit? No. Am I talking about something happening now? Yes. Thank you so much. Right. So my friends, creating CCQs for grammar is not that difficult. What it needs from you is that, again, as we said before, follow this framework. Bear the context in your mind. Someone might say, Shadi, how do I know the context? Check your course book and you will know your context. Do not go to big references and start creating questions on all the functions. No. You're not supposed to be teaching all the functions of one grammar rule in one lesson because it will be too hard for your students. Just focus on the function that is mentioned in your course book. When you go and check that function and check that structure in the course book, try to divide the meaning of the structure into parts and create questions that will target these parts. Then ask your questions to your students and be happy. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Frameworks. Thank you so much, my friends, for watching this episode. See you again. That was Shadi Yusuf. Bye-bye.